welcome back everyone to another episode of Mumbles. Now as you can hear, Mumbles is still under the weather. Oh, I hate being sick so much, but as I said in my last episode, not contagious for you guys, so never fear. Today we're doing a game review, and we're reviewing Sudden Strike 4. Now this is a WW2, the big one, RTS game, World War II game, and you know, story-wise, you know what to expect from a World War II game. Germans, bad guys, allies, Russians, good guys. Basically, that's what this game is. It's real-time strategy. You decide where you want to put your troops and how you want to do it and all that stuff in a World War II setting. So, let's talk about the graphics. The graphics in this game overall are really good for a PlayStation 4 or for a PC port over to the PlayStation 4. I was really impressed with the graphics. Obviously, probably not as good as a PC, but for the PlayStation 4, they are very good. Now, the soundtrack in this game, you really hear about the war sounds and stuff like that. Those sounds are fantastic. But as far as other soundtracks, you know, music and stuff like that, there's not a lot of music and really too great. So just keep that in mind. Now, the controls in this game. This is one con that we're going to have already off the bat, I can tell you that right now. The controls in this game, there is a steep learning curve. The way that they did things, even after playing the tutorial, I was like, okay, how do I do this? How do I collect all my men? How do I get them to move to a certain spot? How do I do this? Now, I will say, after you get down the learning curve and figure out how to do it, the game is rather simple, control-wise. But there is a steep learning curve, so please be aware of that. Now, the gameplay. Now, if you've ever played an RTS game, real-time strategy, you know kind of what to expect me to talk about here. First off, how do the units move? What's special about this game? What sets it apart from other RTS games? So basically, the gameplay in this game is, you are given so many units, or bring in so many units, or, you know, do something with units. You take those units and you move them and you destroy the enemy. That is basically what the premise of this game is. So, how do you do this? First off, you can select all the men and move them into different groups. So, you can take, let's say you have 10 men. You can split them up into 5 each and have 2 separate groups and then hotkey them on your controller, by the way, so that you can select and move these guys different places. Or you can single select. Now, gameplay-wise, there is a little bit of sometimes with the tanks and the way that they go and the things that they do. You have to be very active in managing their paths and things, because sometimes they can get stuck and they won't know where to go. But overall, all that stuff is very good and they do a fairly decent job of doing that. Finally, gameplay-wise, one other thing that I want to point out is, there's not a lot new in this RTS. So, you know, there's airstrikes, there's things like that. You can call in units, you can use tanks, you can destroy things. You can do that. There's different things. You can, like, destroy hedges and do things like that. But it is not anything that you haven't seen before in RTS. But with that being said, if this was a PC game, I'd probably grade it harder on that fact. But there's not a lot of RTSs out there for the PlayStation 4. So that actually works in this game's favor for the rating on the PlayStation 4. Now, we're to the cons section. Now the cons to this, first off, are the controls. As I said, steep learning curve, so no surprise there. Now, the other con to this game is, I wish that they had made things a little bit more non-simplistic. So by this I mean, this game, strategy-wise, is pretty simple. You know what you have to do and you can do it. There's not a lot to think about sometimes in the strategy game. I mean, there is, but there's not. So, for example, in one mission you will find that there is a big cannon blocking your way and it will destroy your tanks if you go that way. All you have to do is go around it. Once you find it, go around it. That's all there is to it. So I kind of wish they had added a little bit more elements to the gameplay, but RTS-wise on the PlayStation 4, this stands up to all of them out there on the PlayStation 4. So, really, not a huge con. Now, finally, what is it going to get on our Mumbles review? Without a doubt, Sudden Strike 4, you get a 7 out of 10. And if I were just to rank you by RTSs on the PlayStation 4 right now, you would get a 9 out of 10. So RTS-wise, 9 out of 10. Gameplay versus all the AAA titles, it gets a 7 out of 10. So let me say that again. Game, if we're comparing it to all the AAA titles and things out there, as far as, you know, games of the year and stuff like that, 7 out of 10. RTS-wise, just rating it against other RTSs that I've played, it gets a 9 out of 10 because it is a very good RTS. It's very solid, but it could introduce some new things. I would love that. So anyways, guys, this has been another episode of Mumbles. I want to thank you all so much for joining me and sticking in there with my cold-ridden voice. I really appreciate that, and I'm sorry again. Yeah, guys, please smack that subscribe button, smack the like button, smack all those buttons. Now, we'll see you guys all in the next video. Bye-bye, everyone. Take care.